drinking wouldn't have allowed me to explore this other area of me and kind of was keeping me at this level. Like drinking, when you're drinking a lot, never elevates you. It never progresses you forward. All it does is just keep you here. Keeps you here. You know, you never have heard anybody ever say that I am really glad I started drinking again. Nobody's ever said that because there's no reason to be glad if you've stopped and you've seen the positive aspects that drinking has made towards your life being improved in every way, shape, or form. It's like there's no reason to look back, and that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm really not even like, oh, I'm 100 days sober. I hope I can make it 100 more. I'm almost like drinking isn't even a thing for me anymore. I don't drink, and life has gotten so much better without drinking in every way. So I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter about being sober. I know a lot of people always ask me questions about it. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to form a place where people can get together and talk about issues with addiction. It doesn't have to be limited to alcohol. It can be any other addiction. I know there's every addiction out there. And even if you're having a hard time in life with depression, if you're having a hard time in life with your family, with work, anything, I know that everybody needs somebody to talk to, and not everybody has somebody to talk to. So I'm going to use Ruin Your Day as a platform for that. Every week on Wednesdays, I haven't decided a time yet, probably around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to have Ruin Your Day live for an hour. And basically what's going to be happening is the chat is going to be live, and that's going to be used as the floor for everybody to talk. I might be on a video feed answering questions to the chat. I might pull up some music that Ruin Your Day made to play. I might play some video in the background. It's going to be sort of a free-form vehicle type of feed. There's not going to be really a set thing that we're doing. The only thing that I want to go on is I want people to feel like it's a safe place to come into and talk and vent, talk to other people, maybe give advice. I'll be in there if anybody wants to ask any questions about being sober. I can give whatever advice I can for that. And yeah, essentially, I just think there needs to be a place like that. I think AA works really well for a lot of people because it's a community. It's a strong-knit community. You have a sponsor that holds you accountable for not drinking. You have other people that are going through the same thing as you. You realize there's a whole world out there of people that just don't drink. And that's rare these days, honestly. So I want there to be a place like that on Ruin Your Day doesn't have to be just limited to alcohol. It could be anything. You know, like my parents went through some heart problems this year, and that really devastated me. So, you know, I needed somebody to talk to about that. My ex-girlfriend's dog that I really love got cancer. My close friend just had cancer. So it's been tough for me as well this year, and I'm really thankful that I've had Ruin Your Day to talk to you guys about battle rap and forget about the troubles in my life, but I want to give back, and I want to create a platform where we can all come together and sort of be each other's shoulder to lean on every now and then. So just wanted to make this video to talk about me getting sober, my experience with it. Honestly, to wrap this up, being sober is like probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Me breaking up with my ex-girlfriend that I love to this day has been the best thing that's ever happened to me too as well. It's really like jump-started me to make big improvements in my life that I'm really proud of. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, the first question you need to ask for yourself if you're thinking that you might have a drug problem, alcohol problem, any sort of problem is, if I'm asking myself if I have a problem, I might have a problem. Do you want to take the next step to solving it? Do you want to get clean? Do you want to get sober? And all I can say is being sober is amazing. It's great. I would never trade it for anything. It works really well for me. Other people can drink responsibly. I'm not one of those people. I can't drink responsibly at all. So, yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for helping me through my year of sobriety. You guys really made a huge difference in my life. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Ruin Your Day, all the patrons, all the people that did a watch episode, all the guests, all the people that tuned in for watch, everybody that bought merch, everybody that bought music. It means the world to me. So thank you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, the safe place to talk about addiction, depression, anxiety, health, balance, and life, everything under the tree. I'm Avocado. I'm the owner of Ruin Your Day, and this feed is weekly live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Same place, same time. This is the show that we can talk about anything that you want to. Absolutely anything. Judgment-free. It's a safe place for you to talk. Today, I'm going to talk to the chat, see what you guys want to talk about. Little history about me. I'm recovered. I don't really know how to put that, but I'm not drinking anymore. I'm sober. I've been sober for a year and a half. I'm sober from alcoholism, and I'm sober from sex addiction as well. So those are the addictions that I have experience with. But let's talk to the chat a little bit. So how are you guys doing today? I was talking to you guys a little bit in the pre-roll. We're talking about Baby's talking about a member of his or her family going pretty quickly. What would you guys say, like advice to somebody whose family member their health is deteriorating fast? I would say just being there for them, being around your other family members as much as possible, because everybody needs that strength at times like these. My parents both went through heart problems this past year in the same month. My mom had a heart attack shortly after my dad was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And what that actually pushed me to do is I stayed in Colorado for a month, and I actually quit smoking cigars because of that. And it's worked out really good for me, and I'm a lot closer to my family now, and I've been trying to be sort of an example of a healthier lifestyle for them. Just trying to be healthier in general, encourage exercise and healthy behavior, and just doing that. So I think that's the best advice I can give, is just to be around your family as much as you possibly can, because that's all you can do, is give them your support and being positive as much as you can be. Of course, don't fake the funk. It sucks. And when your parents and your family members' health starts to deteriorate, there's no way to hide that. It's really hard to see that. But just being there for them, I think, is a big thing. So. Congrats, John Adams. 4 years sober off pain pills and Suboxone. That's dope. A+, how's it going? How you guys doing today? Kels, I need advice towards the journey of quitting cigarettes. I've been smoking for 6 years and I feel like there's no hope. I tried everything. How do I beat this? Well, you guys are in luck, Kels, because there's a couple people in the chat right now that have actually stopped smoking for a considerable amount of time. I would say the first thing that you would do to stop any addiction is you have to really want to stop. That goes for any addiction. That goes for like drinking, sex, alcohol, drugs, smoking. When I started, I was smoking cigars every single day when I quit drinking, because I was replacing the buzz that I normally got with drinking with cigars, and I needed that fix. Now, when I'm like completely sober, I don't have anything even like that. I don't even drink coffee. I have no like fix. Life is my fix. I just try to like live life and be in the moment as much as possible. But you have to really want it yourself. And I would suggest asking yourself that question. If you really want to quit smoking cigarettes, you're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to go through it yourself, and you're going to have to envision yourself in the future not smoking cigarettes. If you want that future, you can make it happen. First thing I would suggest you doing is downloading the app. I don't know what it's called, but there's an app that like tracks how long you haven't been smoking for. And basically what that does is it builds this like internal credit inside of you that reinforces the want to not smoke. And you're like, oh, I haven't been smoking. Blue earlier says he hasn't been smoking for like, what, 6 weeks? So you even saying that reinforces the positivity you get from not smoking. So it makes you want to keep building on that credit. That's why a lot of people, when they say they don't just, nobody really ever says I'm sober. People usually say I haven't drank in X amount of time because it reinforces that positivity you feel when you say that. So getting that app, I think, is really important. Pixie, how's it going? And I would say also not doing activities you used to do that would make you want to smoke. So it's the same as everything else: drinking, sex, drugs. They're all triggers that you do those when you need to do them or when you're triggered to do them. So avoiding those situations you originally would be in when you would want to smoke cigarettes. So hopefully that's good advice, Kels. Daniel Sheriff, it's my first time here, although we'd never met in person, or although we have met in person in a mass event. If I could ask a question, did you find any books that have helped you in your recent journey of sobriety? Books, I don't know about sobriety, maybe not. But I definitely have read 2 books recently that I kind of like live by in terms of like my mantra, and that's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Hansen, and then another one is called Emotional Agility by Susan David. Both great books, and they both have helped me get through tough mental times, and that has also reinforced my sobriety as well. So I would say those 2 books, highly recommend them. I know there's other books on the exact subject of sobriety as well, but I haven't read any of those. So how do you go about helping a family member quit smoking? It's hard it's hard not to seem too pushy or preachy. Excuse me. Don't want to feel isolated or blamed for the side effects. Want to be the source of support. Jay, so just like I said earlier, I think that family member has to really want to stop smoking themselves. You can't really push anybody to doing anything they don't really want to do, because then it's going to come things like not regret. What word am I can't believe I'm like not thinking of the word resentment. Resentment they'll build towards you if you're really being pushy in one way, shape, or form. What you can do is you can reinforce healthy lifestyle changes that will possibly make them not want to smoke cigarettes. Like if you take them on a hike and you try to go hiking pretty often, chances are they're going to like start coughing and be like, man, I can't, like, I'm winded. And then you could be like, yeah, well, you know, if you like, have you ever thought about like maybe like cutting back on cigarettes, and then you'd be able to hike better? Or like just kind of like subtly, I would say, planting the seeds of not smoking. That's how I've kind of approached like being around my family members that I hope will kind of cut back on drinking. I haven't been straight up about like, you need to stop drinking because X, Y, and Z. I've kind of just tried to be like an example of what it feels like to be sober and how amazing it is. And hopefully they see that and they reflect back on themselves like, oh yeah, I want to feel like Kyle. Like Kyle's never hungover. He doesn't ever, he's like healthy, you know, he's in shape, like he's got a good mental state now. And I attribute most of that to being sober. So I would say being there for them as much as you possibly can be, in reinforcing healthy lifestyle changes, and not being extremely pushy, like you said. Saint Soldier TV, what's up? Avo, how can I last more than a minute on my first release? All right, Archer. No offense, but I'm not going to answer that, man. My girlfriend caught me. I said I was done. She was there for the withdrawal. Sean, so you're talking about quitting drugs, right? Do you feel comfortable being more specific? Like what are you trying to quit? And I would definitely say if you're trying to stop anything, stopping for the person you love is very admirable, and it is important to have a higher power. You can make that person your higher power, But at the end of the day, I think it's very important to want to do changes for yourself. Um, I recently, not recently, a year and a half ago, I broke up with the love of my life, and it's fucked me up to this day. If you guys follow me on Twitter, like you can see me posting pretty depressing statuses every now and then because I've been going through it recently. But the good thing about this heartbreak and this pain is that it's teaching me a lot about who I am, and I've discovered a lot of things about myself through this breakup. I got sober. I didn't get sober because I was hoping that me being sober would make my ex-girlfriend want to get back in a relationship with me. Me being sober was because I didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to be drunk anymore. Me not being a sex addict anymore, shooting porn all the time, is because I don't want to be a disloyal lover anymore. I don't want to be somebody that's cheated on every girlfriend they've had, that's put them through tremendous trauma and like hurt them. I think you have to really look inside yourself and be like, I want to not be that person anymore. I don't want to be on drugs. I don't want to have to hide from people what I'm doing, Sean. So I think that's a big thing, man. Like wanting to change for yourself, because you should definitely put yourself first in those cases. So yeah, Metal Mickey. On top of that, monogamy, sobriety just makes everything easier. Yep, sobriety makes absolutely everything easier, man. Like makes life so much better, man. I can't like reinforce that so much more. It's like, dude, when I was drinking, my life was so chaotic, but I was like, I was dealing with a sex addiction. I was dealing with a lot deep rooted issues, like growing up with like in a pretty toxic masculine household. So dealing with like pretty bad tempers, pretty bad outlook on women. But yeah, I mean, like just drugs and alcohol did not help, to say the least. They did not help. Yeah, Tom, agreed. If you're trying to get sober, if you're trying to do anything for somebody else, if that relationship doesn't last, things you might relapse. Like that's totally true. So I think ultimately you wanting to make a change has to be for yourself. Metal Mickey, 22 days clean. Fuck yeah, man. That's amazing. Oh, so you haven't accepted it as lifestyle. I get it. So it's still like, are you like white knuckling as they call it? XQZ, I drink a gallon of water a day. So that's how much water I be drinking. Pixie, congrats. Yo, CRS Flow, 2 days clean. Fuck yes. Congrats on that, dude. That's incredible. Yeah, man. I mean, like once, when I first quit drinking, before like I got sober, before I got like stopped cheating on my ex-girlfriend and shooting porn, like I literally thought I was going to be doing this forever. I thought if me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, I would just start shooting porn a lot more. I thought if we broke up, I would just still be a raging alcoholic. I never thought that I was going to quit drinking. I remember one time me and a coworker were talking and he was like, I think it would be okay if I never had a drink again. I remember thinking I would not be okay. I love drinking. There's no way I'm giving this up. And literally it almost took like everything bad to happen to me for me to realize that I'm not the person I want to be. Like, 2 years ago, I look at like video footage and like photos of myself and I really don't like who I was. I was Kyle under a lot of it, but at the same time, like on the surface, I was just like such an unhappy person. I was so mean and like I was so like I'll get drunk and be mean to the people that loved me the most and that I loved the most. And that's so backwards, and yeah, I mean, it's so crazy before you get sober that it seems impossible. But when you start to get into it, and like you guys have said, like when the lifestyle change comes forth, then it becomes almost just like a way of life. It's like I never, ever think about drinking anymore. There's never a time that I'm like, fuck. And like I've been like, to be honest with you guys, this past 2 weeks I've been like the saddest I've ever been probably in my life. I've hit like rock bottom with my ex-girlfriend. She told me that like that she does not see a future with us, but she sees a future with somebody else. So it's been really rough for me, like really rough. And there's never been a time, even in that moment, that I'm like, fuck, I want to drink again. I want to, or like, I want to go shoot porn again. Like, diving back into my addictive states, my inner circle. There's never a time that I've been like that. And it's because I've been in this lifestyle of being sober. Robert Stack, free from YouTube, major props for continuing your sobriety and helping others in their journey. Robert Stack, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. But yeah, I say that to say this, that like once you get into sobriety and it becomes just a part of your life, it's just as normal as before when you were doing those addictive things and you couldn't see yourself stopping it. So Jay Hardwick, I appreciate that, man. What is going down in guys everywhere? What you're describing is just stupid egos, but masculinity itself should be looked at as a good thing, not a toxic thing. That's how I feel. Curiosity L. I agree, masculinity isn't a bad thing, but toxic masculinity is. There's a difference. Just like toxic love, toxic abuse. That's essentially what they're saying, is that I grew up in a household where the man doesn't really talk about his feelings, and he kind of treats his partners not so good. And he doesn't, he has a temper really fast. He gets pissed off really quickly. And I learned that from how I was raised. And that's toxic masculinity. So it's like putting your masculinity before your feelings. I think it's okay to be masculine. I think it's okay to be a man. I think there are times when it's appropriate to rise to the occasion and toughen up and not complain. But at the same time, I think there is so much to be said about sharing how you feel and being a good, kind-hearted human being, regardless if you're a man or a woman. So this is my outlook on things, I guess. A-Train, appreciate that. Sean, she saw the vid and caught me using again. I want to be normal to understand how people live that way. Sean, so you don't understand how people are sober? Is that what you're not understanding? Because I can definitely empathize with that, man. Like before I quit drinking, and before I stopped shooting porn too, I like never thought that I thought I was going to be having like, I thought I was going to be cheating on every girlfriend I've ever had. I was like, I remember thinking like, oh, men cheat. That's just what they do. And then like drinking too. I would never think that I would be sober. I'm like, I drink every day. That's like one of my favorite things to do is on the weekend is get drunk. Like, and now it's not even funny. It's like, it's so crazy how different life is and how much better life is. Like literally I can do almost nothing in a day. Obviously I'm productive and obviously I get shit done and I do a lot of work, but I can like have a night alone and just watch a couple YouTube videos and be so happy. I can take walks now and be so stoked, and like not everything has to revolve around drinking. So Sean, I definitely think looking at life as being a wonderful thing a wonderful thing without drugs is an important thing for you to think about. Mr. Fairplay, totally agree with you, man. Couldn't disagree more. That's actually what I've been kind of talking about in therapy is learning to put myself before my ex. So you're definitely right there. Reese, what's up? Curiosity L, yeah, life without drugs really is better. 100%. Totally. Curtis Haraway. Word, man. I mean, for sure. Everybody, I think at the same time, I think everybody grieves in different ways. Everybody learns to move on in different ways. I don't think there's a time limit, really. If it's impacting you health-wise, mental-wise, depressing you, I think that's an issue. But I think everybody should be allowed to grieve for as long as they need. And I need a long time. So I'm fine being sad. I'm fine with feeling how I feel and being honest with how I feel. I think that's an important thing. CRS Flow, I shot it for 3 years. And to be honest, I don't think it's a cool thing. Maybe we're like headed down that direction of thinking it's tight, but it's not. It's probably the thing I regret doing the most in my entire life because I shot it behind, I was in it too. I was like in the scenes. I was talent. I shot it behind my girlfriend's back. So I cheated on her shooting porn. So it's definitely something I regret. I don't find it cool in the slightest. So thanks, Desi. Appreciate that. Damn, 9 planets. I'm sorry to hear that. King Oz. I've never heard of him, but I'll check him out. Colobsidian. So I had a relapse and overdosed on ADHD meds, essentially amphetamines. Was about a month ago, and I'm in a much better place. Forgot how supportive NA could be. Some can be clicky, but it's okay. Fuck yeah, Cole. I'm sorry to hear about your relapse, man, but I'm so glad that you got back into a program and that you're in a better place. That's incredible. Robert Stack, how do you approach dealing with being around your former vice? If you're talking about alcohol, it does not bother me. People can drink around me all the time. Something that I'm personally struggling with, and I know it's an issue within me, is learning how to go out. I don't ever go out anymore. I don't ever go to bars. People like, Ben and Clayton, who like are kind of like my only friends now. They'll go to parties sometimes and they don't even invite me because they know that I would say no. And that's because being around an atmosphere where people are intoxicated, I feel like I can only have base level conversations with them. And I like talking to people. I like talking to people beyond just like joking around and like fucking shooting the shit like we would do when I was drunk. I like really talking to people, but that's also my issue. I need to get through that. So, that's just something that I need to get through. But, all that to be said, when I'm around alcohol, it doesn't trigger me at all. I don't get bothered. And to be honest, when people I know sometimes people get like kind of weird about being the sober guy at a party. I like being the sober guy. I fuck with being healthy. And like when people are like, oh, you don't drink? I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm not like, no, I don't. Drinking's whack, like you get on my high horse. But I'm proud. I'm proud of being sober. It's a great thing. So never felt awkward in that sense. What I've feeling awkward with is just that the conversations are so base, and then when people get drunk, it's like kind of even worse. So, what age did your addiction start? I mean, I don't really know. My sex addiction started at a really young age because I have been looking at porn forever. So definitely a young age, maybe like 13 or something like that. And then alcoholism actually was a lot later in life because I didn't drink through high school. And then I kind of started drinking in college, and then I got into partying like after me and my first girlfriend broke up. So, Loud Pack CEO, dope, shout out. But yeah, so I think that's when it started, like around like 21, I would say. Saint Soldier TV. So I'm at a party with alcohol flowing. Do you try to have a good conversation with other people, or do you just sort of people watch? I mean, to be honest, I haven't really been at a party where I don't know a lot of people in a really long time. The most recent thing I can kind of talk about was I went to My homie had colon cancer recently, and he recently got off chemo. So I went to a bar with him and like a bunch of my other friends, my old friends that I used to party with, and so I knew everybody there, and I do try to have conversations with them, but it is hard to have any conversations with them beyond like, how are you doing? And that also is probably my issue too. I have a lot of entitlement within myself that I feel like my friends should like ask me how I'm doing with my breakup, because a lot of my close friends have never asked me how I'm doing, like ever. Like mutual friends between me and my ex, they've like never asked me, "Are you doing okay? Are you all right?" And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But at the same time, that is coming from a sense of entitlement. Like I feel like I deserve to be asked that when I should be initiating the conversation in the first place. So, Saint Soldier TV, maybe I should like initiate more conversations. You're right. Maybe that's definitely on me. I think I definitely accept some blame for that thing as well. So you're right there. Chad L, what up, man? All right, A. See you next week, dude. But how you guys doing? What else? What else is cracking? Robert Stack, do you feel like you became familiar with your former friends due to your alcoholism and constant partying? No, to be honest, I feel like I've drifted apart from my former group of friends, and to be honest with you, I don't connect with them as much as I used to, unfortunately. And I've tried hard to reach out to them and like build a connection again individually, and it is hard. It's rough. So, but the thing is, as we mature and get older and life goes on, like the only thing some people have between in friendships is the history of them being friends in the past. And it's really fine to let go of some relationships sometimes. Sometimes when you're trying to force a relationship to be what you wished it still was, it can become sort of not good, and it's not beneficial to either party. So I think it's kind of fine to let go sometimes, and that's kind of what I've been accepting this year, or trying to. Desi, I didn't know you can't type porn. That's weird. You can't type porn in here. Tiezo, I quit drinking. You're drinking, but can't get away from cannabis. I mean, I don't really think weed is that bad. Um, if you do it within like moderation, you know, like it's the same thing with everything else. But if it's definitely like taking hold of your life, then it's an issue. Yeah, the mailman, exactly, man. That's how I feel 100%, is that I really still do love my ex girlfriend a lot, and I can't really picture a future without her, but I am slowly accepting that that's the way that the reality is, and I'm definitely responsible for the relationship falling apart and causing her trauma in many ways, shape, and forms. But I also have started on the road of forgiving myself for that. I've forgiven myself enough, but I think I need to like really forgive myself for the trauma. And that's difficult sometimes when you've done something that you really regret, is like learning to forgive yourself completely, because it's like I can forgive myself enough because I know that I'm not hurting her anymore, and that she's in a better place now. She's healed from the trauma I've caused her, but it is sometimes really hard for me when I'm like, I fucked up the relationship. So, Robert Hobson 19, I appreciate that. Yeah, Desi, sometimes you can't swear. It's so weird in here. The chat's like that. Thanks, the mailman. Appreciate that, man. Do you believe people are learning to love themselves more these days? Yes, I completely do. I think that mental health awareness is being more widely spread and that people are being more comfortable being vulnerable. I know that I'm really comfortable being vulnerable now because I feel like it's a helpful thing for me to be vulnerable to some people and to see that I'm very open with things that most people wouldn't be open with. And I do really love myself. I absolutely love who I am as a man, and I love the progress that I've made. And I think a lot of people oftentimes get self-loathing a lot, and I think that since the general populace is so much more connected now, that if we can just spread more stuff like this rather than just being fucking negative all the time and being like going towards social media just to like laugh and poke fun and fucking like drag people, I think that would be much more beneficial to society as a whole. So, Desi, forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a choice. So while you're waiting for your guilt to be lifted, you realize that the feelings are healthy and may always be there. It's good. It's good advice, Desi. Avo, do you feel like being sober has helped you deal with issues a little bit better, or has it been tougher? Me being sober, I would not be who I am today without me being sober. I would not be as introspective as I am. I would not be as open to being wrong as I am. I would not be able to do what I do every day at all without being sober. Being sober 100% was a key and a tool for me to really work through myself and navigate the roots of why I was an alcoholic in the first place. I could not imagine going through this breakup that I went through in the past year and a half drunk. It would be bad. I would not be any much better of a person. I would probably still be doing a bunch of bad stuff and being a person I didn't like. So being sober has helped me really navigate myself and navigate issues 100%. And the feedback through the people that love me and that are around me is like immense. And I constantly get like told that my personality is out more when I'm sober and just that it's really improved who I am. So definitely think it's helped in every way, shape, and form. I always thought it's better to be numb to these things. It's sometimes hard to be in tune with your emotions without feeling like you're losing the fight. Um, yeah, man, I completely know where you're coming from, dude. Sometimes it's really hard to accept things about yourself, about how you were raised, about how you're feeling currently, and it's much easier to just numb things out. That's the easiest thing to do is just to like be like, oh, I feel like shit. I'm gonna drink a six pack tonight and not feel like shit for a couple hours. But guess what? When you wake up the next day, you're still in the same situation. You didn't help anything, actually. It's still the same place. All drinking does, all drugs do is keep you here or just fucking bring you down even further. They don't help anything. They like cap you almost. So, um emotions and all that stuff is very uncomfortable to feel. I don't like when I first started like, down this road, I didn't feel great about the fact that I've like destroyed the woman I've loved the most ever. And I still don't really, that doesn't sit well with me even saying that. But I know where the roots of that came from. And yeah, like being in tune with your emotions and getting sober, it allows you to understand yourself, other human beings better. It allows you to connect better with people. Think about this. Think about how many people um, go like, I've been single for a year and a half now. I've not been on one fucking date. The dating world is like foreign to me. I've almost no want to go down that path, but I do have friends that have been single and they've been going out, and every single one of them drinks when they go out because you like loosen up. I wonder if they tried to just be sober on a first date if they might connect more, because people drink because they're like nervous and uncomfortable. But what if you just had real conversations on the first date instead of like just trying to get loose enough to make the first move and hook up? You know, I wonder if that would like lead you down a better road, you know? So, huh. Yep, that guy. That's hella true. The things you were scared of can be the most empowering things in your life if you can only push past them. That's 100% true. Being in a state of uncomfortability is actually what will make you grow the most. You don't grow, you don't build anything by walking, or like by sleeping all day. You fucking build by doing the hard work, by lifting, by doing what other people don't do. You know, there's a reason why everybody's not uh, reaching their goals all the time. It's because it's more comfortable to be comfortable, and it's easier to do that. So living in pain, in the pain of whatever emotional pain you can go through, you know, living in the uncomfortable, the uncertain of life, you know, like of your future too, is really what's going to push you as a human to be the most that you possibly can be. I think people that live in rigid lifestyles that are set with expectations of they like, I want exactly this in the future and this will happen. That's so rigid, and it doesn't allow much more than what will happen from A to B. Like the options there are just so limited that it's like life is so much more than just a straight road from A to B. There's like you can go in any single direction you want. So I think that's a good point that the pain and uncomfortability of emotions allows you to grow. Black Sox, man, I hope to see you and watch, dude. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Never been on a date. I'm 33, just never really bugged me as of recently as I'm sober. How to start socializing after overcoming depression and anxiety. Artur, that's a big question, man. Um, but I would say just going out. And that doesn't mean going to bars. You can go to a concert, you know, you can go to you can sign up for a kickball league. You can sign up for like a book club. You can go like nowadays it seems like they have like these like Facebook friends meetups where people will just meet at like a restaurant. I just say just going out and living life, man. Like I think if you just like start going out and doing stuff you like and being friendly and nice to people, you will meet people because people like being nice to. So I just say get back out there, man. Oh yeah, comedy shows. That's a good one too. Jeremy D, did you ask a question that I missed? Has anyone gone through PHP partial hospitalization program for depression? The doc said is recommended I try it. Um, Excuse me, I don't have any um, direct advice for that because I've never heard of that before. But I don't really think if a doctor is suggesting it, that means that you like shouldn't have to do it. But I think some people do need medical attention for depression. I think depression is something that's there's not a silver bullet answer for, and I think it's subjective. I think everybody's depression is different. It's like literally like this vivid um, mosaic painting, and depression changes through everybody. So it's not this like there's no one diagnosis, answer, symptom, cure to depression. Depression's like super wide. Um, so I would say maybe check it out. If the doctor suggested it, maybe it's something that you could look into. It depends on how you feel with being medically induced to uh, treat depression, you know? Isaac David, thank you, man. Peace, Reese. I'll see you next week. That's cool, Frisky. I dig that. But yeah, what else, guys? What else you guys want to talk about? Little Big, thank you. Appreciate it. The girlfriend and my brother keep pushing rehab, and therapist can't bring myself to do it. They are litter. Sean, so you don't want to go to rehab? And you don't want to see a therapist? I think therapy is amazing. I think everybody should actually go to therapy regardless if they're dealing with anything in life. Therapy is incredible. I went to therapy for the first time in I think like 5 months Tuesday, and I came out of it with some great things. I was drinking in excess while filming Watch. Definitely, Isaac. I was drunk driving all the time, too. It was horrible. I don't still smoke. I never really smoked weed, but I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything, period. I'm like completely sober. I did smoke cigars when I quit drinking. I smoked like a cigar a day for about probably like 7 months, and then I quit cigars as well, so I don't do anything. Definitely therapy you have to go to with an open mind. That's really true. You definitely have to approach it with an open mind. And I think that's a big part of the self-discovery process in general, is having an open mind and willing to answer uncomfortable questions of yourself and look at yourself through a prism that you're not used to. Robert, other than yourself or your ex, has anybody been instrumental in your sobriety goals and continue to be? Joey Ills, really fast, how did I quit cigars? I seriously just stopped. I stopped because, I don't know. I guess like I just don't want to be a guy smoking cigars forever. It's overall really unhealthy. And even now, like, it's going to be my birthday next week, and I'm like thinking about what to do. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go to like the cigar club I used to go to. And I'm like, do I really want to smoke a cigar again? I'm like, I don't really. It just sounds gross. So I know it's not convention, or I know it's unorthodox how I quit cigars, but I literally just stopped cold turkey. But Robert Stack, back to your question, is anybody else instrumental in my sobriety process? And that is all you guys. You guys are very instrumental. Ruin Your Day, The Battle World, my family, my close friends, everybody in my life is super instrumental because this might be a little entitled and narcissistic for me to say, but I do feel like me getting sober has made a ripple effect with everybody around me. And I feel like it's definitely been a positive influence on my family especially, and that means more than anything to me. And to the battle world too. Like I get hit up pretty often saying that I'm the reason why certain people quit drinking, quit drugs, and honestly, this has kind of been the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life. Like, this is bigger than battle rap to me. Like, this show, I know that there's only like 76 people in here to me, or watching me right now, but this, to me, is the biggest thing that I've ever done. This, to me, is one of the most important things that I've done, because I feel like it's truthfully helping and being therapeutic. So, yeah. Yep, health is wealth. Hey, Train, just copped a hoodie. Thank you, bro. Yo, so you're trying to get sober, but you always get bent when you go to the studio. That's definitely out of habit. You can definitely go to the studio and be sober. I'm gonna kind of throw one of my good friends under the bus right now, but Chase Moore, has been sober. He did the whole sober October thing, and the amount they're full-time musicians. They make music every day. That's all they do. And the amount of music that he pushed out being sober is incredible. So that whole thing, like you need to be inebriated to get into the creative zone, I don't buy it. I think that's kind of a cop out and an excuse. And like you said, it's probably a habit. So yeah, man, just go in there sober. Who knows what will come out when you're sober, you know? Yeah, and Desi says she can only record sober. So right there. Thank you, Air Todd. Yep, I'm really glad that he got sober too. I hope that he can keep going. That will be amazing. I mean, yeah, man, I think people can definitely be balanced in this community of battle rap. I mean, Peter, I know you're probably being tongue in cheek with your statement, but I don't really view battle rap as being this like aggressive, violent art form at all. If anything, I view it as the opposite. I think it's very peaceful. Like, how many fights break out in sports all the time, like non-stop? How many concerts do you go to with fights? It's non-stop. It's an art form. There is fights in everything. I could walk outside right now and probably fucking see a fight within a block radius. People fight. It's like a thing. The imagery and fantasies built into battle rap do definitely have violence infused elements in them, but I think at the core, battle rap is such a raw expression that's pushing the English language farther than anything, period, is doing. So I don't really view battle rap as this thing that people like to kind of fall back on as being like, oh, it's just people insulting each other, because it's definitely not that. And I definitely think battle rap is extremely positive. I think I missed a question. Yo, Flexface, if you want to ask a question, go for it. Um, do you find it harder during the holidays? Absolutely not. I find it pretty easy during the holidays. I mean, I don't think it's negative, if that's what you're trying to say, at all. Like, I don't think it's a negative art form. I think it brings people a lot of joy, and I don't think I don't know how you would look at battle rap and be like, that's a negative thing. It brings people from all different walks of life together, and it makes careers for people. Like, I don't really view it as negative at all. I don't view it as a toxic community. This show is proof. Like, I don't know, the people I've met through battle rap, I think are like amazing human beings or wonderful people. I don't think it's negative in the slightest. Um, Hell yeah, Johnny. But yeah, enough about battle rap. This isn't about battle rap. We're gonna be on watch tonight talking a lot about battle rap. But we got 5 more minutes. What else do you guys want to chat about? What else is going on? Anything anybody wants to crack at? All right. Peace out, man. Good to see you in here. Addicted. Yo, Unique. What up, dude? Good to see you, man. I quit coffee. I know a lot of people are addicted to coffee, but I personally, it just didn't ever make me feel good. Like, it like woke me up, but it always make me my like stomach felt horrible. It's like a laxative. I just hated feeling like what I felt like when I was onto it. And honestly, ever since I stopped drinking coffee, I felt a lot better. I'm not like tired at all. I have more energy. But yeah, what was the hardest part about getting sober? Like, what were your first steps for you? I quit drinking 2 years ago for 100 days. Um, and then I slowly started drinking again. When I first quit drinking, it was really hard because I was faking the funk and I didn't want to stop. This time, actually, it was really easy because I was going through a really rough patch in my life. I was going through a relationship ending, and I knew that I needed to be in a sober mindset to really address and navigate the feelings that I was experiencing. So honestly, it was not hard at all. And once I stopped this time, and I like literally said I'm gonna stop drinking for a year, and like the first week I think might have been a little tricky. I was like, I wish I could drink because I was drinking super heavy before I stopped. But after like the first 2 weeks, it became super easy. Then after a month, it became even easier, and then it was just like I don't even think about it anymore. Yeah, Mr. Rape Shark. Uh, I went to therapy. I went to therapy on yesterday. I've been going to therapy for 3 years, on and off. When I first stopped drinking, I lost a bunch of weight. It reacted really good, honestly. Like my body reacted amazing. Oh shit, unique. You spend more money on coffee than rent, man. Like you probably should just take a like start drinking like start weaning yourself off of coffee. I would say like drink like maybe 1 cup a day now instead of like 5 cups or like 2 cups a day, and then just start weaning yourself off. I guarantee you'll feel better, man. Jacob Thomas, appreciate you, man. That means a lot. Okay, so Mr. Rape Shark, you got a question. During your sessions, do you go in with a specific problem in mind that you want to address, knowing what exactly is the issue, or is it just something that you delve into and slowly understand where certain issues are coming from? Um, when I go to therapy, therapy is a pretty expensive thing. So, I'll just say like my therapy sessions, each session I go to is $200. That's an hour. So it's pretty expensive. And that's honestly, I was using that as a scapegoat for not going for a long time, but that's bullshit. Like I can afford it. I just need to like budget myself better. And mental health is super important, so I need to do that. But I do go in with some things I wanted to talk about. Like for example, this session on Tuesday, I obviously went into it being like me and my ex girlfriend had a conversation where she said that she doesn't see me and her being together in the future, and I want to know like how I can navigate the feeling of being in love with her and not seeing her in the future. Obviously that means that I'm not over her, and I know that. I know that I'm still in love with her and know that we're like still in like a friendship. So, I knew that I was approaching the session with that because that's why I wanted to go. I'm like I need to talk about this with somebody, and to be honest, it's not that I needed to talk about this with just anybody. I wanted a therapist to call me on things, to call me on my bullshit, to be like, well, you're doing this because of this, actually. And for me to be like, yeah, you're right. So one of the things that she brought up that I thought was really interesting in my therapy session was that I might be addicted to my ex-girlfriend in a way and addicted to her love. So I feel only good after me and her have an interaction. And that's because I have an expectation of us getting back together in the future. So it's like literally an addictive thing that if we have an interaction that's not good, that's just kind of neutral, then I feel like shit. Or if we don't talk for a week, then I feel like shit. And that's kind of like in therapy, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to go in there and have her tell me that like I need to love myself because I felt like I loved myself. But I do definitely put my ex-girlfriend before me in a lot of situations. So I didn't expect those things to come up in therapy, and that's what therapy is. It brings stuff out of you that you didn't expect, and that's hard to admit sometimes. But if you approach therapy with a willingness to learn and be open with yourself and don't fake the funk, that's an important thing in therapy too, is don't go in there and just phone it in and just like kind of half-ass it. Really accept things about yourself and really be honest with who you are. Like, and don't lie or anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's only hurting you. You're paying for this, so you should make it worth your while. So yeah, that's been my approach to therapy. Yeah, and Jake Smith, also, you bring up a good point about it being emotionally draining but extremely rewarding. To be honest with you, dude, you guys, like, these sessions to me kind of sometimes are emotionally draining. Like, after these sessions, sometimes I stop and I feel almost like sad afterwards. But it's therapeutic. It's super therapeutic, and that's emotions, man. It's not always every therapy session that I go into is not like I come out of it and I'm like, whoa, fuck yeah, I feel great. Obviously, when people ask me, how was therapy? They want me to say that because everybody expects you to constantly be getting better in life. When people ask you, how's your business doing? They want you to say, great. How's your job doing? Great. How's your marriage doing? Great. They don't want to hear you being like, oh, we're working through stuff. Because then they're like, oh, is something wrong? This isn't good? You know, when really that's a good thing that you're working through shit. That, oh, I actually found out that after a year and a half, I haven't actually broken up with my ex-girlfriend. I still put her in my heart. And a lot of people would be like, oh, that sucks. Like, I thought you were good. And I'm like, I am good. I know more about myself now. That's a good thing. It's a great thing. So it's just kind of like your perspective on how you look at therapy and like growing and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah, Desi, it's definitely a big one. I will say that. Unique, what up, man? Yeah, come paint my house. For real. Yeah, Desi, exactly. That's the thing. It's like sometimes when your friends and family ask you how you're doing, it's like, do you want to hear the truth or that I'm doing good? Because the thing is, it's like when you're like going through stuff and finding stuff out about yourself, that's not a bad thing. That's a fucking great thing. It's an amazing thing. Like, there's so much negative connotation with pain and with being sad. It's not a bad thing to be sad. It's natural. It's not comfortable at all. And for you, I think that's where people like, people are like, "Oh, I just want to see you comfortable all the time." And that's like, "Oh, so you don't want me to like really grow? You just want me to be like this base level happiness all the time?" Like, I have to get better, and like most of the human condition, most of the natural human emotions are negative. So they have their purpose. Um but yeah. So, Rape Shark, appreciate you, man. Um but I think we need to wrap up because it's been an hour. Um, and yeah, you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Yeah, in 2.5 hours, we're going to be live with Kruger and Diz for Watch. We're going to spin the wheel and watch a battle. Get your Ruin Your Day hoodies, just like Metal Mickey said. We have like 6 left. They're like selling crazy. And yeah, Arter, peace. Thank you, dog. Anything else? I think that's it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me again. To anybody that's new in here, this is live every week, same place, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We can talk about anything you want, absolutely anything. Judgment free, safe place to talk. Ruin an hour, ruin your day. Nah, Desi, there's purple ones still left. Just you gotta order it soon. Just tell me your size and I'll set one aside for you. But yeah, guys, have a good night. You can DM me if you have anything else you want to talk about. On Twitter, I'll talk to anybody. So hit me up. But yeah, guys, peace.